All right, guys, welcome back to episode 5 of the Falic Exchange. Today, we do not have a coup with us because the Detroit Energy Company, DTE, a little bit of a cuck, has left him without power for like 3 or 4 days now. Still hasn't been fixed, so they're working on that. But we do have Volok and myself, Fate the Tattered Hate, and today we are joined by Matt Konigsmark, who is the owner and co-founder of JuJu Energy, one of the sponsors of the both of us. And Matt's career has been focused on building, launching, and growing brands and products online. He started at Cox Interactive Media. He's managed critically acclaimed properties such as Access Atlanta and Y'all.com, and even went on to lead strategy at Peter A. Mayer Advertising. And with there, he worked with clients such as CenturyLink, New Orleans Tourism, and even the New Orleans Saints. He also led marketing at venture-backed startups, including the Receivables Exchange, Control Freak, which many of you in the gaming industry has probably heard of, and Haste and Soft Giving. He graduated from the University of Georgia, and he is also a native Atlantan and an avid cyclist and co-founder of the Southern Food and Beverage Museum in New Orleans, which we're definitely going to talk about because New Orleans
Yeah,
is one of my
that's a
favorite cities.
lot
So,
to unpack there.
a lot to unpack there. So, before we really get into it, what I want to talk about for any of those in the audience who may not know, what is JuJu Energy?
Well, JuJu is, we call it a professional grade energy formula. Focused in the product is really on creating a really high grade energy product along with focus. So you get really good long lasting focus and a nice sustainable energy that doesn't give you jitters or crashes. Is sugar free. We really, in developing it, tried to find kind of best of breed ingredients and pack it all into a formula that was specifically made for gamers.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's a step above, better quality, crash, anything like that, like you get with some of the others. So, okay. Gotcha. So tell me a little bit about when you guys decided to start Juju. What went into that
Yeah.
thought process?
So I was at Control Freak, which, as you mentioned, is a gaming performance accessories brand,
Mm-hmm.
well known, particularly in the shooter circles. And so we kind of grew up alongside G Fuel, and so I'm very familiar with those guys and what they were doing. And as you also mentioned, I really like riding bikes. So I was going mountain biking and road riding, and when I was doing those things, I was seeing all these other supplements. So I was seeing goos and gels and cubes and all that kind of stuff, and I started thinking it'd be really cool to basically take kind of something like G Fuel and make it into a different format. Maybe it could be gummies was kind of one of the big ideas, or it could be chews or something like that. I pitched this idea back to my boss at Control Freak, and he was like, "That makes a lot of sense, but we just don't want to be in the consumables business."
Mm-hmm.
So I kept thinking about it. A few years go by, and kept thinking about it. I was I came and went from Haste, and then so I had some time on my hands, and started talking it up to some other guys I knew from the gaming industry, and ultimately, ideas started getting a little traction. We started talking to, and he knew a supplements manufacturer, one of the guys I know,
Okay.
and so we started talking to those guys, and it turns out they were really interested in this idea because they're a private label manufacturer supplements for a number of companies, and they were looking for some brands that they could invest in and grow with, and
Okay.
so that was the beginning of Juju.
Okay.
We said, we had this idea. We met the manufacturer. We all said, let's do this together. We formed a joint venture, and that was probably maybe 2.5 years ago, maybe so. And but they also said, the idea of building out other formats is a great idea. We love it, but it's challenging because there's challenges in kind of trying to pack all those ingredients, say, into a gummy.
Mm-hmm.
It's also you're it's a lot more expensive early on. So that's why we made the decision early on to go into a powdered formula. down the road, we'd still love to explore some of those other formats, but
Yeah.
that we started in powder.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then, as I said, from the very beginning, the idea was we're starting at scratch. We have these guys who were really good at with supplements. They have biochemists on staff. They have flavor experts on staff. And so we said, here's all the kind of functional benefits we want to create, specifically for gamers, the kind of things we'd want to drink, share with our kids, with our friends, whatever. And we want to be 100% transparent in what's in the product. So if you read the label, you truly know what's in every serving. Felt like that was really important.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like it was important to create a healthier energy drink. So it doesn't have sugar, it has low carbs, low calories. Again, top of shelf ingredients. It's like we use Himalayan sea salt as an example rather than like just sodium, right? But we don't
Yeah.
have to, but we do because we think that's the right thing to do. And ultimately creates a better product. So we worked with those guys over, I don't know, like 9 months to really nail the formula and in the first round of flavors to hit the market.
Okay, gotcha. So you guys
Yeah,
invested a lot of time, and I'm assuming a
we
lot of
did.
money as well, into making sure that you're using the right products and that you have the right formula, so that when you're pushing it out to the market, it kind of stands on its own and is unique in that market.
Absolutely. And I think, as we even have some cool things in there. Like we have an ingredient called Ludamax 2020
Mm-hmm.
that's specifically in there because we think again about us and you, and we sit in front of computer monitors all day, and so that ingredient is clinically proven to support eye health and combat the effects of blue light strain. So
Gotcha.
makes it's expensive, but we feel like it's really worth it.
Awesome.
Um, so obviously your history with like Control Freak and like all your marketing background. I, one question I had is because it's such it is a competitive market. Obviously, it's a different product, but it's a very competitive market. So I want to know, how'd you start getting the word out? How'd you start networking and marketing the product to differ from the others, that to prove, hey, we're different. Overall, just like what'd you do to get, I guess overall, like I said, get the word out?
Yeah, it's a great question. I do think that two of us came from Control Freak, and so that business, particularly when we started there, we kind of started early when it was very small and kind of and grew that business, and so we experienced a lot of this kind of previously, and so one of my partners, Brandon, ran the design side of the business, and I ran the marketing and e-commerce side. So we had a lot of experience, not only just in kind of building audiences and building products and selling products, but we also had a lot of experience with e-commerce specifically.
Okay.
So, so all of those were really helpful. We knew we have a lot of great contacts in the industry. So I think, um, that definitely gave us a leg up, and we had an idea of, how to build things like an affiliate program. We had ideas around, which kind of gaming genres or types of gamers we wanted to target. Um, we had experience in, as I said, in building communities and audiences um, and all of those things. And so all of that was really helpful early on. I think some of the things we made some like anything, you build a strategy, you make some assumptions. Some of those are right and some of those are wrong. Um, I think that um, we've also been really, again, we're not lucky exactly because, I think our manufacturer partner is really good at what they do. But one of the things that's really, I think, helped distinguish us from some of the other brands is that people say JuJu tastes better. They really love the taste, think it doesn't have that chalky aftertaste that's associated with some of the other brands. It doesn't have the crashes and jitters, again, that some of them have. So they made a great product. And so, it's our job really to spread the word and build an audience and promote it. And so, they've really equipped us in a really strong way to do that.
That's awesome.
Well, I got some right here, and I 100% agree.
Absolutely. So, you mentioned that it's your job to grow it and get the word out and all of that. So that's actually one of the things I want to talk about next
Yeah.
is really growing the company, because you say you started really about 2.5 years ago with the idea of it, and it's grown quite a bit since then. And especially recently, it started to get a lot of traction, I feel, in the market. Hearing about it a lot more from various people across Facebook, Twitch, etc. So you mentioned that you guys started pretty early on with the ideas for an affiliate program. So, what are some of the things that went into that affiliate program? How do you go into vetting, which partners, which affiliates you want to work with? What do you look for in an affiliate or a partnered streamer?
Yeah, and I would do think, I would kind of separate those two because I do look a little. Obviously, if you're paying somebody, the standards are more rigorous. Um,
Absolutely.
but I think in both cases, we're looking for somebody that's going to be a good representative of the brand and the brand values, and kind of shares our general philosophy. We're looking for people that we're looking for the kind of people that we want to hang out with. And so I'm looking, typically I'm looking for people that the affiliate program is kind of easy come, easy go, in a sense that we're not paying people
Mm-hmm.
to do anything specifically. They get paid basically off of sales, so it's a commission based structure, so they don't have to do anything. But still, I'm looking for people that ideally would say I want people that are hardworking, entrepreneurial, on the way up. We want to catch people when they're young or when their audience is starting to grow, and then build a longer term relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I particularly believe in the gaming industry and community that relationships are really important.
Absolutely.
So and you can I run into people. So I've been in the industry for almost 10 years, and I run into people all the time that I've known that I knew back at Control Freak 8 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's and then we also then start to kind of look at things like how are they on screen, how do they engage, interact with their community, do they have a good rapport with them,
Mm-hmm.
do do we think that they'll ultimately be a good, I guess it's kind of coarse, but will they be a good salesperson for the product, for
Mm-hmm.
JuJu, and a good representative, and then I think on the flip side of the coin is also what can we bring to them,
Mm-hmm.
what can we do for our partners. And I do think it's definitely a two-way street.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, I would say, especially because you and me, Faye, we both have sponsors. I definitely understand where that's coming from. It's a two-way street. You give to receive, and same way, vice versa. So I overall think that I think that a lot of people will try and get a sponsorship thinking, "Oh, I'm just gonna get free product." Well, that's not always the case. You gotta try and think of it as a business transaction. Like Fate, you've made a video about that before as well.
Yep. Yeah. And
It is a business transaction, right? I mean,
absolutely.
I'm paying you to promote my product, and at the same time, and I always offer this, and I'm surprised that more people don't take us up on that. But what can we do to support you and promote you? And so I always say, and hopefully you guys have heard me say this, but is if you have a clip you like, if let us know. We're happy to share it on our socials. If you're whatever you're doing, like we're here to be your partner and help support you and help you grow your community.
Absolutely. And that's very important, because I have some sponsors that like we just never hear from. Like it's just an affiliate, you never hear from the company, anything like that. And after a while you just kind of almost like lose any sort of real incentive, because you just become out of touch with the company. And that's something that I could say from a partner like standpoint. Juju does do a very good job of that, I feel. And I think it shows, because we have a lot of people who are very eager to show our products, eager to talk about it. And I think a lot of that stems from having a good product, but also having that two-way communication. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
absolutely.
have. I mean, thank you, and we have a Discord, as you well know, for our partners and affiliates, and I've been really impressed. I think it's been even better than I would have ever imagined. The
Mhm.
communication in there, just the dialogue, and it's great.
Yeah.
We have uh, it's great to see people in there.
I think I'm gonna add to this. I think what a lot of people miss is that while it's still a business transaction, it also you have to also think of it as a community as well.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
the more you feel a community, the more you're going to want to, you
Mhm.
know, try and help that company, because you don't see it as a company anymore. You see it as, oh, hey, it's my friends,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Right. I mean, I think we, in some ways, yeah, I would say it's kind of like we're building a family, like, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's like if you're at
Yeah.
work and you have a good relationship with your coworkers or with your boss, you're more eager and you're more happy to be there and to do it. Whereas
I
if
often
you're
think
out
of
of
like
touch,
I often think of it's like a cocktail party, right? Like I come into
Yeah.
Discord, like and you're like you make the rounds, like how you doing? Hey Fate, how's it going? Hey Falic, how you doing? What's happening with you today? Blah blah blah. And so
it's especially a
Uh,
cocktail party when I'm active in the Discord.
so
So, absolutely.
that makes the weirdest noise, man.
It's the watch vibrating on the desk too.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was like,
and the
what
other
kind of
thing is
ringtone is
vibrating
that?
on the desk. What?
Oh, no, I'm not gonna get into that one.
Anyway, moving on.
Speaking of things growing, uh, so like as I said before, it's definitely a competitive industry. Um, and you guys, you said you love your manufacturing, everything's going great with that. But when it comes to like the challenges of growing, especially in this space, like I said, because it's very competitive, there's lots of products out there, there's lots of knockoffs that make they're like, oh, it's great, and I see them on Facebook all the time.
Mhm.
And it's just like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this before, and this is a new one. Like what? Either way, um, that's just about the competition aspect. But when it comes to like having enough product, or someone from Australia wanting a product, or Japan or whatever, what challenges do you run into with those?
so I don't think those are as much manufacturing challenges as they are kind of maybe size of the company challenges.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I think we struggle to do a really good job of shipping and meeting demand in foreign countries, right?
Mhm.
And that's because we ship everything out of Southern California, and we don't have and again, we're at the stage we're in. We don't have it. We don't have fulfillment centers in the EU or in Australia, and so it takes a long time and it's expensive for international shipping. So that's definitely a weakness today.
Mhm. I mean, you have a company like Walmart. They're so big that they can negotiate those lower prices. When you're a company that's growing, that's it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more expensive
Yeah,
because
and when you're a small company, you have to I mean, every company has to make decisions, but we have to make decisions on where do we want, what we have limited time, limited dollars. So where are you spending that time and dollars? And for us right now, we love our international customers, and we have a significant chunk of our business is international. But we really today the business is definitely slanted towards the Americas.
you kind of have to
And
triage what you can help.
yeah, and so I mean, what things that are on our roadmap are we want to figure out international shipping and how do we make that easier and better.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
okay. So that's like international. All that. What about your competition though? What challenges do you have with those?
So I mean, I think it's the classic kind of marketing challenge that is as you pointed out. I mean, it's a crowded space. The consumer has a lot of choices, and so how do we get our message out? How do we convince people that the product is worth trying? But and ultimately that how do we build interest and demand and even awareness and get people to try it? I mean, I think that's the ultimate challenge. And you have the huge 800-pound gorilla in G Fuel who really created the category, and then you have others like Sneak who've done a really good job. Gamer subs people know they've been around for a long time, and then there's as you said, there's dozens of other startups.
There's like a new one every day, I feel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've
I think
seen. Like I said,
that's
I'll be scrolling and just see random ones.
Yeah. Well, I
right.
think it's kind of difficult. I think you guys have done a good job of it. But I feel like every time I see one of those new startup companies, you instinctively go to the idea of, okay, they're just like riding the hype train of gamer supplements. how
Right.
through marketing and through, I know you guys do, well, before coronavirus, conventions and stuff like that. I'm sure that's something that you've actively tried to push against, is the notion that JuJu's just riding that hype train. So I mean, have you found success in any particular method? What's kind of been the main way
Yeah,
of doing that?
yeah, I think there's a couple. I mean, I love the conventions, and I'm sorry that we can't participate in them right now because I think that for us,
Mm-hmm.
we did a couple. We did a couple pre-COVID. We did TwitchCon, and we did one for Quake, and those were really early. We launched at E3 of 2019, so
Mm-hmm.
we're about 15 months. We've been around for about 15 months, and those were really important for us because again, we're trying to build credibility, and we're trying to, say like we're not just a Me Too product. We're actually kind of different, and people don't want to spend, $36
Mm-hmm.
on something a lot of times they haven't, tried or don't have a personal testimonial for. So those were huge for us early on, and actually getting people to try the product, taste the product. We were there sampling, so you could try any of the flavors we had at the time, and we got a lot of feedback. And it was great, as well, because we got to talk to people, one on one about what do you think, what's your reaction. We got to see it. We developed some very early customers, particularly from QuakeCon, which was like this, like August maybe of the summer we launched, and that was really big for us. We moved on to TwitchCon, and that was great because just so many people at TwitchCon, and we had people that were making the rounds, testing all the different energy products, and we kind of consistently heard this tastes better than anything else I tried while I was here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. And again, we signed up a bunch of customers, who are still with us today. I mean, that's one of the things I think we've seen. Again, goes back to the product, but a really high percentage of our customers every month return.
Yeah.
So that's great. And I think that, again, that's a testament to the quality and the product. And so we did that early on, and that was great. We would continue doing that if we could. But the other thing we've invested in really early on and continue in is you would call it influencer marketing, I guess. And so it's, we have across the board, we have relationships with primarily with streamers, some YouTubers, but and that's all the way from, smaller people who are in our affiliate program all the way up to, mid-sized Twitch and Facebook streamers. And really the idea there is trying to tap into their audience. We're looking for authentic relationships with people who really actually like JuJu, who drink it, and then who can talk about the reasons why they like it
Mm-hmm.
in kind of an unscripted format back to their community. And so that's been, I think, that's really been kind of one of the primary ways that we've tried to build awareness, um, get credibility for the product, and ultimately to get, people to try it and buy it.
Gotcha.
And then,
Okay.
as I
Yeah.
said, once people try it, we actually see a really high repeat purchase rate.
Yeah. You're like the Subaru
I
of
do
the
want to
gaming
mention.
industry.
Yeah. I do want to mention one thing I've noticed, especially just scrolling through Twitter and stuff, is I'm seeing JuJu pop up more and more, and people doing reviews and stuff without any sort of prompt to, hey, you want to review our product? No, they literally just review, like literally right as we started. I just saw a video get posted, and it's someone I follow, and they reviewed the product,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, wait, what? What?
Yeah. Especially because from a marketing perspective, it's very difficult for people, like, to get people to leave positive reviews. People have a
Hmm.
negative experience, they got no problem going on Yelp or Google or anything, but you
Mhm.
usually have to incentivize people doing good reviews. Like, it's very difficult
Yeah.
because people usually, if they have a good experience, it's just, okay, cool, I had a good experience, maybe I'll tell a friend, but I'm not going to go out of my way to leave a review. So it has to be a top-notch experience usually for people to do that. So, which is good to
Yeah.
see.
It's
And I think
happening
that's
so
also,
often. It's starting to feel like a snowball effect, honestly.
yeah, I think
People
that's
see it and
true.
they're like, oh, I should do that.
But I think that's also, I mean, you guys know, but gamers are really passionate, right?
Absolutely.
And so if they like something, doesn't mean they're always going to leave a review, but they're probably going to tell their friends, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I tried this, and it's either going to be like, I tried it and it sucks, don't buy it, or like, hey, you should try this, it's really good. I mean, you talked about Twitter. I see on our Twitter all the time on our timeline, people telling their friends that they should try JuJu.
Yeah.
And these are people that are not in any kind of program with us. You know, they're not sponsored. They're not an affiliate. They're true believers, and it's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things you mentioned earlier is talking about being a smaller company and having to really kind of make decisions that aren't always easy based off of, how much, finances are available at the time, etc. So I want to talk about, as a business, some of those important decisions like staffing or manufacturing, choosing suppliers, stuff like that. Like,
Hmm.
what kind of goes into that decision making process when you're deciding, what what your next undertaking is going to be, or whether you're going to hire someone or just do it yourself? Like, what kind of goes into that?
Yeah. So again, I mean, I think keep in mind that as I said, we've been up and running for 15 months.
Mm-hmm.
So we did raise a little bit of money early on. Everybody in the business kind of put money in,
Mm-hmm.
but really we've tried to kind of pay as we go,
Yeah.
and so that influences a lot of our decisions. And it also means that really everybody involved is putting in their own personal time as well to make this thing to make this thing go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. We have a bunch of expertise across the table, from licensing to marketing to design to finance. We have all that expertise, and it's phenomenal. But it also it just it means that in some ways that I think we decided to prioritize. Ultimately, look, we didn't want to take on a lot of debt early on
Yeah.
to
That's
grow
a
to grow the company.
slippery slope.
Right. And so, I mean, the idea, like, if JuJu actually, if it continues to grow and it grows into something big, and then ultimately we don't own very much of it, that's not super appealing, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we've ended, as I said, we've kind of pay as we go, but that also means that that's an inhibitor, I think, for growth for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You kind of have to look at the whole
I mean,
business
I
idea
think
of.
we could easily be, if if we had seed or venture funding, we could easily be 2 to 5x where we are today.
Gotcha. Okay. But at the moment, you kind of have to look a little bit more from a scrutinization standpoint of what's going to make the most impact but cost the least amount of money or take the least effort and so on, and go from there and really figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I was shipping boxes out of my basement until 4 months ago, right? So,
Yeah.
and so that was a big day when we said, hey, we're gonna pay somebody else to ship boxes. That was huge.
Oh yeah. I bet that was a some extra space down there now.
Yeah,
So.
and it wasn't just me. It was it was all the founders were
Oh
shipping
yeah.
stuff. So,
I mean, it also
um,
sounds like you guys kind of have a good, like, perfect storm of collaborating minds when it comes to starting this with the different backgrounds and everything that everyone has. So, which is
yeah.
good to see. So, absolutely. Um, so
I got one.
yeah,
I got a question for you too. It kind of goes along with the making decisions and stuff though. So two things, I guess. First thing is, at one time, how many flavors would you say you have on deck that you're trying out? And second thing is, how do you choose those? Because I guarantee you, our listeners are going to want to be like, okay, well, what's the next flavor? Like, why? What's the decision? Like, how does he get that?
yeah.
So it's across the board. I mean, it's not super process driven. I think what we have 8 flavors today. We just launched a new horchata flavor at the end of last month, which is
It's so
been
good.
great.
I've been
Wait,
trying to save it because it's a limited
I don't
flavor,
have
but
any.
it's
So
I have it right next to me.
just between us and your listeners, we just doubled down on our initial order. So
Sweet.
um,
It's
but
so good.
but I'll tell you, I
Everyone's gonna
mean,
be happy about that.
so one of the things that's actually you talked about, decisions. One of the things that's been interesting is um, due to COVID, all the supply chains have been really extended. So like we used to be able to get things in, I don't know, 3, 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now things are getting pushed out to 3, 4 months,
Yeah.
and it's because I mean just like everything else that they're having our suppliers have workforce issues. The supplements industry is booming right now because people want they're looking for ways to increase their immunity or whatever they're doing, right? So,
Yeah.
so anyway, we're waiting longer and longer to get product, and so that's impacted us a couple of times this year. But Brian, I forget your original question.
Choosing flavors.
How
How do you
choose
choose which ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
And about how many do you have on deck usually before they're released?
Yeah. So so is our businesses maturing? I don't know. We're like, awkward teenage years, but as we're growing and we're getting our legs under us, we have more and more flavors in process at any given time.
Mm.
So I would say, prior to horchata coming out, we probably had 4 to 5 flavors in the pipeline.
Okay.
So now, what does that mean? We have 3 to 4 in the pipeline, and some of them are personal projects. So one of our founders is a huge horchata fan. Grew up drinking horchata, and he was like, we should make a horchata. And it turns out that that our manufacturer had some success making that for another type of supplement company, right? So we tried it and said, this is delicious, and yeah, let's do this. And so we usually go back and forth with them on taste test. So until we feel like it's really right for, we've nailed the flavor. But so some of them come, and so again, we have this, this partnership with this, they're an Inc. 500 supplements manufacturer, so crazy volume.
Mm-hmm.
They know from their other clients which flavors are selling best, which people like the best, and also, they know the same about different ingredients. But so sometimes they'll suggest things. So like tropical juggernaut, which one of our other better flavors was suggested by them.
Okay.
And in other cases, like we'll look at our flavor kind of profile and say we feel like that we're missing like one of the ones we've been kicking around for a while, and you guys know this, but it's coffee. Like we would like to have a coffee flavor. Feel like that we don't have anything like that in our current flavor
Java
profile.
flavor would be good.
Yeah, so like, okay, let's put that on the roadmap to see if we can nail that. Some flavors are easier to do than others. Also, you guys have seen it, but we often also, we ask our community, we ask our partners and affiliates, and even just the people, we ask our social media audience, hey guys, if what flavors should we create next? What are we missing?
Yeah.
And we take that into account as well. And so we're actually working on a watermelon flavor right now, and that kind of came out of the community.
That makes me happy. I love watermelon flavored things.
Yeah, it's so really good too. It's really good.
I'm partial on watermelon. I like it, but if I'm being honest, it reminds me of a Johnny Vegas, the watermelon flavor.
Yeah, don't be honest. Just stop it. You love it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure I'll love it either way, but it's just I'm saying, like, with anything other than JuJu that I've had, it's an interesting flavor, interesting complex to say the least.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, like everybody else, we look and also see what the other guys in the space are doing. What do we think is selling well there? But I mean, primarily it's we all have pet projects. I'm still trying to get a margarita flavor approved. No luck there. It'd be great. I feel like now that we have a horchata, we should have a margarita, but maybe that's just me. And then
there, if we can get an old fashioned flavored one, I'd be super happy.
You never know.
But gotcha.
So I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I think our next flavor to come out will probably come out in the winter sometime, and it will be another kind of like in the same fashion that horchata is like a cream based kind of product. That one will be too.
If it's winter, you should do a hot chocolate flavored one.
I was gonna say a cocoa flavor.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Perfect for winter. But anyway,
put some hot water, whatever.
Yep, that'd be great.
All right, so for anyone that you're pretty much a marketing expert because of all your experience and everything that you've done, and you've been in the industry forever. For anyone that's like trying to grow their own brand or not necessarily a energy supplement, not necessarily a company, what would you say? What advice would you give them? Like how to grow their, streaming is a saturated market, obviously. But like, what types of things would separate them from someone else? What things should they invest in? Any sort of thing like that. Someone who's just like, again, trying to grow their brand, trying to get bigger, and just trying to, I guess you could say, sell themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys know that stuff better than I do, but I mean, I think the things I think about are, one is, what's unique about me or my stream or my product, right? How am I different? And I think about that all the time for JuJu. Like, how are we different? Again, we're in a crowded market. How are we different? And what can we kind of hang our hat on at the end of the day? Why should you drink JuJu versus any of the other things out there? So I think that same thing applies to streamers. I think that, again, it goes back to building audience, which is key. And you have to build this kind of army of advocates who are gonna, who got your back and who are gonna tell three of their friends, like, hey, Fate's really great, but Valic's even better. Go check him out.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Well,
I was just being kind, okay?
Oh no.
That's like comparing a Ferrari and a Ford Focus, basically. Come on.
Don't you drive a Focus?
Nope.
Oh, you drive a Fusion.
That's nothing to do with what we're talking about. Shut up.
I'm just saying. But yeah,
So-
I get. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think trying to stake out your niche and, building audience and, on streaming stuff, I don't know. I don't know what else I would add to that.
Okay. Yeah, I think.
What about you guys? What do you think?
I would say I think when you look, like, there's a lot of parallels that you could draw when you're looking between a startup company that's growing in the industry and a startup streamer who's trying to grow as well. And you kind of hit the nail on the head there when you talk about really find your niche, find what makes you unique. I think you also have to have a certain level of self-awareness as well, and be critical of yourself. Look, what am I doing that nobody else is doing? Or really look at your stream and say, or your YouTube channel or anything like that, and say, why would anyone watch this when there's something else that they can watch? Like, what stands out, or what can I do differently? And really, learn what makes you unique. I think that's very, very important. And one of the things when we were talking about having to make those decisions on what to invest in, or where to put our money, or where to put our resources, it's things that streamers go through a lot as well, when it's something from, finding an editor, or choosing, should I buy this monitor, or should I spend $500 on a Go XLR, when what I have right now works just fine and I could put that money towards something else that can help me grow more. It's really figuring out what's going to have the most impact for the least amount of money. And that's
Yeah, and then you also have to decide, what game am I going to play?
Yeah.
Or what genre am I going to be in? Is it something I'm really passionate about, or is it something where I feel like it's a trend that I can latch on and grow with?
Yeah. Should I play COD because I really enjoy it, or should I play Among Us because that's where all the viewership is, even though I might not have the best time with it? Those are a lot of decisions that streamers have to make that are similar to the decisions that companies need to make. So
It's also the decision I hate to make.
especially because I really want the shiny toys.
Well, no, that's an issue I definitely have a problem with. If anyone sees my socials, I just completely redid my office. However, I didn't buy half that stuff.
That's true.
I won it in a contest. So, but even then, I just spent $800 upgrading my gaming PC, even though it worked just fine.
Yeah.
But it's just new things were out. Black Friday, whatever.
Yep. So one of the things that I want to end it with then is, we talked in your introduction about dealing with a lot in New Orleans, from the Saints to the Southern Food and Beverage Museum. So did you live in New Orleans, or did you just work with companies remotely through there?
No, I lived there for 12 years.
Okay. I was just there in October for Halloween. We were there on Halloween.
That's a great time.
It was so much fun. Were you there for Mardi Gras? Did you party in Mardi Gras?
I lived there for 12 years.
Yes. I mean, I just had to, for formality's sake, I had to ask.
No, I'll confirm that. But I mean, so Mardi Gras, I don't know how much time we have, but Mardi Gras has a whole different context in New Orleans, and it's just, there's layers and layers of Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
So the whole Bourbon Street kind of Mardi Gras experience is not as much a local phenomenon as it is an out of town phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
But like where we lived, and we lived 2 miles from downtown, from the French Quarter, but you would have during Mardi Gras season, you'd have parades every night or every weekend, and so you go out to these parades and you see your neighbors out there, you see your work friends, you see everybody new. It's like going to like a tailgating kind of thing or a picnic. And then on Mardi Gras Day, which everybody knows is Fat Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
in New Orleans, New Orleans shuts down for Fat Tuesday. I mean, the schools are out; they're out all week, and then businesses are off. Like I couldn't have even ever gotten to my business if I
I
wanted
didn't
to.
know that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's like we used to joke that Mardi Gras was like like that Christmas and New Year was like a speed bump on the way to Mardi Gras, and so like
Yeah.
the typical um upper middle class New Orleanian, let's say, would like they go and they celebrate Mardi Gras and then they go skiing for the next week to recover. But because there's all these balls and parties and
Yeah.
but then on Mardi Gras Day you go out and you have a full slate of parades to watch, and so people are out. They call it the neutral ground. It's where the streetcars run, and it's the the grassy strip between the two lanes of St. Charles Avenue, and people set up grills and and tents and it's like a tailgate, and people are making gumbo and they're making they're grilling, they're barbecuing and making hot dogs, hamburgers, and whatever, and and drinking a lot, and it's a blast.
Yeah. No, it's a fun city. What would you say your favorite memory of Mardi Gras or of New Orleans, not Mardi Gras in particular, but of New Orleans is?
Probably is Mardi Gras though.
I could have went for Mardi Gras. I chose Halloween instead because Halloween's my favorite holiday, and I felt like New Orleans would do Halloween right, and they did not do it wrong by any means.
I don't know. I mean, I had so many great memories there. And personally, it was a really tough decision to leave. I love New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And I, I think I fell in love with New Orleans, I would say, kind of through Jazz Fest was really my introduction.
Okay.
Um, I was dating my, I think, I took my now wife to Jazz Fest early on, and it was kind of different than it is now. It just wasn't nearly as big or as popular, and it's like it was raining, and we had this magical weekend in the rain in New Orleans, and like maybe that's my favorite memory of New Orleans.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
I don't know. For me, I mean, it was just I moved there when I was engaged to her. We got married there. We had kids there. I mean, so I have memories across the whole the whole spectrum, and they're I love that city.
Yeah. It's a fun
I've
city.
been there
I want to go
once.
back. I want to go back.
I've been there once. It was for a Call of Duty event.
I will tell you one other thing.
Yeah.
While we're on New Orleans, or still on New Orleans.
Yeah. Never not on New Orleans, really.
So our product JuJu is actually inspired by New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, our name comes from
Yeah.
the idea of like something magical and kind of voodoo, and so those are things that I took with me from New Orleans. So
Awesome.
Yeah, our logo is
the-
based off. But
yeah, it's the Voodoo Man,
Yeah.
a little voodoo doll.
Yep. A little voodoo guy.
yeah.
I love the logo. It's unique. It stands out. It's very cool. I love it. He's a
Thank
cool
you.
By the way,
guy.
I think our one of my partners did a great job with it.
Yeah, it's one of the most unique logos I've seen in the gaming industry.
By the way, Fate, you have a very nice office today.
I do. I'm very happy about it. A lot of
How often
exciting
do you,
things
how
happen
often,
in this
how
office.
often do you crash in the couch behind you?
I don't know. Not that often. I usually go to the other office for that. This one's just for work.
Clients.
Yeah, I see very important clients in here.
Yeah, it's kind of an intimidating setup.
Right? Yeah. It's very comfortable couch though. They're usually not on it that long. We're usually standing up. The desk gets a lot of action. It's a very, very hard desk.
Is this why it's called the Phallic Empire?
Yes. Yep. In the Falic Exchange. It's the official office of the Falic Exchange.
Oh my god! I'm trying to hold it. I can't.
We have fun here.
Jesus Christ.
But
Oh.
all right. Well, that's going to do it for us.
so-
Matt, thank you for joining.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
everybody's time. If you guys liked what you see here, make sure you leave a subscribe on YouTube and a thumbs up. And if you're watching on any of the podcast sources, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, Google, Apple, make sure you guys leave a follow. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Falic Exchange.
Awesome. Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
That was
bye.
good. Have a good one, buddy. Talk to you later.
All right,
Later.
you too. Thank you.
I couldn't hold it in.
Oh no, it's
I
fine.
tried. I brought the comment up just on purpose. So but like I didn't expect it to go that way.
Oh yeah. It's the Phallic Exchange, dude. It's always gonna go that way.